All right, and then let's see, are there any new faces? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I recognize all the folks on the calls today. So we can go ahead and jump over to RCs, and we've got a few still outstanding. So the first one up here, propose additional JVMs in the Java build pack. I suppose this is still blocked on the language families builders one. Okay. How about this one? Require a specific Java version in the build plan. Let's see what the most recent comment is. So it looks like we've got some sort of response from the person posting this RFC, but we don't have any response from some of the Java folks. I don't think we have any Java folks on the call. All right, I'm going to skip over this one then.
So the opener of this RFC is in my team. Probably the only way to get this forward is if he joins the working group meeting of the Java Buildpacks, I guess. Or do you see any anything I could recommend to him?
I mean, you could always ping someone outside of the working group just to try to get the ball moving forward again.
Just get annoying on Slack.
Yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point, it's actually kind of reasonable to be annoying on Slack. You know, if you're being completely ignored in the main avenues for conversation, then I think it's a reasonable ask to escalate in other directions. Anyway, that's what I would suggest, at least at this point. All right, next up is the proposal to create language family builders.
Yeah,
Sorry, Kevin, it looks like you got muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I saw that you added your comment, Ryan, but I haven't had a chance to look at it and respond to it yet. I'll try to get to that this week.
Okay, cool. It'd be great to get some other folks who, you know, maintain builders or language families, get some feedback from them as well. It's worth reading through. This has an impact on everyone. All right, and then the last one here, I posted this last week, but the main thrust of this is that we're going to try to make the steering committee more open and more representative of folks who are contributing to the project at this point. Historically, and like what's written into our governance documentation is basically that if there's any succession to membership on the steering committee, it's that the steering committee members who are currently on the committee decide who that next person is to join the committee. It's kind of a closed process. It's, you know, it's one that's prone to political shenanigans and other such maybe less wonderful aspects to any sort of closed process like that. So we want to open this through an election process. And there's a bunch of kind of rules and stipulations about who's eligible to be nominated or to become a candidate, who's eligible to vote, so on and so forth. So I encourage everyone here to read through the kind of election process. And then also to think about if that's, you know, something you're interested in joining and participating kind of at a more administrative and fundamental level on the project. I know that as a current steering committee member, I'm the last person on the steering committee currently who like works on Paketo full time, and quite a lot of the administrative burden has fallen to me. So I'm definitely interested in getting some folks who have some more bandwidth and are interested in seeing the project move in different directions to kind of help carry that out. So please take a look, provide some feedback. The gist of it generally is that we basically are mirroring what the Cloud Foundry Foundation does for the Technical Oversight Committee elections that they hold. In fact, we're just going to reuse a bunch of the infrastructure they already have. And they've written up a bunch of nice rules around how people can run and be voted for and so on and so forth. So we've kind of taken that as a framework and tailored it a little bit to fit Paketo as being a smaller project. Anyway, any questions at this point? Doesn't sound like it. All right, I encourage you all to take a look. And I think that gets us to the end of the list here of RFCs. So next up here on the list is CNB updates and questions. I don't think that I saw anything from CNB project in the last week, at least not anything consequential. All right, project updates. Anyone from the team want to update on what's happening on the project currently? Anything that's worth mentioning in this meeting? I'm currently doing some code review on the stack extensions PR that's in Packet. It kind of like sat there for a while because we were waiting on some like final changes to land. So I'm just doing some kind of like final review. I think there's like a couple tiny little things to get fixed, but it looks like 99% of the way there. I know you Red Hat folks have tried using that to get some stuff done. So that hopefully should be landing in like a more supported fashion relatively soon. Other than that, the only other thing that's kind of an administrative thing is I merged the libnode.js RFC, and I actually created a repository. So there's now like a libnode.js repository. So if folks are interested in contributing stuff there, just open PRs and we can start to, build a library from there.
Yeah, I'll try and open at least one PR to add something this week or so.
Awesome.
And it is great to hear the Packet stuff will land. We kind of have two branches now, one where we have it in and one where we don't have it in. So it'd be nice to have the one, be able to have the one where it's in, the one that we maintain.
That's very close. So hopefully like in the next day or so.
That's great.
Okay, any other project updates? It doesn't sound like it. And so it looks like we have one open mic question. Cloud Foundry support in the Dynatrace build pack.
Yes, so this came from one of our internal customers. They kind of want to do a two-step migration. First, like they want to migrate to Kubernetes, and they first want to build everything with cloud native Buildpacks as Docker images, but still deploy to Cloud Foundry. And once this is all working nicely, then they will like switch over to Kubernetes. And so what they now are stuck on is like recap services as not read by the Dynatrace Buildpack, right? But they normally get out of the box if they use like the old Buildpacks on the CF world. So I guess it would be like a rather simple contribution to the, I haven't looked at the code of the Dynatrace Buildpack up till now. I even haven't used it before. So completely new to this Buildpack, but doesn't sound like rocket science to read like some environment variable and parse some data out of there. But it's more like a general thing. Would this be something accepted in the community, or is it more out of scope for Paketo? Or?
Certainly an interesting question. I think VCAP services strikes me as like kind of a platform coupling. But also you could make an argument that like the other things, like a fact that we read service bindings from like a specified location itself is a platform coupling. It's just a coupling to Kubernetes as a
Yeah, I
platform.
think it's called Kubernetes service binding spec, right? So it's has
Yeah.
a platform in its name. Well,
So it
yeah.
isn't necessarily like conceptually that different. I can't speak specifically to the Dynatrace build pack about whether or not that contribution would be accepted. I think that the folks you should talk to, it's certainly worth asking in the, what channel would that be? Is there a integrations channel or an APMs channel? App monitoring, there is. I'd probably ping like Dan Makuza and David O'Sullivan. They're kind of the two folks who are mostly, you know, making sure that the app monitoring stuff is getting updated and maintained, at least right now. So I would talk to them and see what their thoughts are on it. I don't have any immediate like negative reaction to it. Having, you know, also worked on the Cloud Foundry build packs and continuing to maintain them on my team, I don't know, the overlap in platforms maybe feels a little bit questionable, but I don't know. Maybe those are just like misplaced feelings on my part at this point.
Yeah, also feels a bit like bringing some very, very old, like even the name VCAP, right? This is software archaeology that you need to do to find out what that means.
I wonder if you couldn't add a build pack that could parse VCAP services and write it out as if it were Kubernetes service bindings. I mean, the two are very similar in goals. Then you'd have a generic adapter build pack that you wouldn't have to go around all of the individual ones and patch in support for VCAP services.
So we have actually the other way around internally for migrating, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have heard that adapter concept before, where there's, you know, something that runs either the platform itself or some sort of shim around the lifecycle, or a build pack at the front, or, you know, a stack extension maybe at this point, something that basically is just capable of doing that translation before the build pack gets there, so that by the time the build pack looks at it, it can't tell the difference, or doesn't need to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Certainly worth exploring, but also worth asking, just asking the app monitoring folks. Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions today?
I'll give a quick update and say that I've more or less finished the writing for the UBI base image extent RFC. I'm just waiting on approval to sign the CLA so that I can raise a PR for it. So I'm wrapped up in red tape now, but don't worry, it'll get through eventually.
Awesome. Glad to hear you're making progress. All right. Anything else today? Doesn't sound like it. All right, folks. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.